one of the next important topics that we should learn is managerial roles and managerial skills. Managerial roles and managerial skills. Interesting words, but they are very, very perfect words for this topic. Roles. Role played by a manager. The word role is used in the case of cinema industry if actor plays a role. So it's an acting role. If you see a big film, there are main actors, sub-actors that all play their role. Even in a drama, people play their role. So the word role in this topic is also the play, the role played by managers, managerial role. Manager should do many other things, also and play as a manager as well. So playing as a manager is the most important thing. However much you know the management theory, unless you play your role very well in management, you will be a failure. And I will be talking to you in next few slides the two topics actually. They are not very interconnected, but they are all right. Two important topics. One is managerial role and managerial skill. You have to play your managerial roles, you need your skills. Skills can be categorized, but I will first go into the most fascinating part of this lecture is the managerial roles. What are the managerial roles? Critical roles and skills, they are usually required by the managers to, no matter what their specialty or the level. No matter you are a bank manager, whether you are a bank manager or a cooperative stores manager or some manager somewhere, no matter the subject what you do, you have to play the role of manager. The concept of role in this context can be considered similar to the role played by an actor in a theatrical production like a drama or a cinema. So this is, remember, when you become a manager after your diploma, you will also have to play some of these roles. After careful observation of activities performed by large variety of managers, it has been found that those activities, the roles, can be broadly grouped into three categories. Now, who brought them to these three categories? They are the management theories. Actually, people who have developed management theories have done these observations and found, yes, we can broadly categorize into the three categories the roles played by managers. What are the three categories? We will be discussing about them now. Interpersonal roles. Interpersonal roles, number one. We will learn what interpersonal roles are. Then number two, informational roles. Informational roles. Number three is decisional roles, decision-making type roles. How the three management roles, the interpersonal roles, the information role, and the decisional role. Informational roles, decisional roles, and interpersonal roles. So I will get the three different roles, and then there are several sub-categories under three different roles. Now, one main category for me is interpersonal roles. I, in my life as a manager for so many years, have seen the interpersonal role as the most important role for anybody. Not only just the word important. I have seen those managers who have high level of interpersonal roles have become very successful managers, because most interpersonal role is the way that you handle your people. You deal with people. Dealing with people and handle people, you need a lot of interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills, if you have developed, you become a very successful manager. Because you are handling a man. A man cannot be a machine. Man is a very unique product, and a person is a very unique product. It's a huge combination of several machines in one unit. So you have to handle that sensitive person, or the sensitive person called man, in a very different way. So interpersonal roles deal with that. And I would love if you learn your interpersonal roles as a theory well and practice it very well when you go to the work site and when you become a manager or when you one day in your life become a top manager as well. What are the three different categories of interpersonal roles? Figurehead role, leader role, and liaison role. So interpersonal roles also are grouped into three different roles. Now, what is the first role? Figurehead role. That is, under the interpersonal role, the very first role is the figurehead role. Any manager becomes the figurehead of that unit. If you are a manager, means the word manager itself will give you that you are the boss. So it can be 3 people, 5 people working under you, but still you are the head of that group. So figurehead role. So figurehead role varies from very big level. Like if you are a president of a country, yes, figurehead of the country. If you are a technical officer in a small work site, if you are an engineering diplomat working as an engineering assistant in a small work site, a work superintendent, so you are figurehead at that work site. So still you have to perform the figurehead role even at different levels. Figurehead role has 3 different roles: welcome visitors, participate in ceremonies, sign legal documents. There are 3 different sub roles. You can have more, but I have brought 3 different rub roles. So welcome visitors. Now, if figurehead of this country, the president of his sector, the president of Sri Lanka, yes, he also welcome visitors. If the Prime Minister of India visits Sri Lanka, President of Sri Lanka welcome him at the airport even. So welcome visitors. Then, but when you are an engineering assistant or a technical assistant or a work superintendent at a work site in a remote area of this country, still you have to welcome visitors. When you are there as a boss, if somebody comes there, say local public health inspector comes to see the site, so you have to welcome him. So welcome visitors is a role which has to be played by the managers. So whatever level of manager, so that is one other role. Participate in ceremonies. You can imagine if you are the director of an institute, yes, you have to go and participate in ceremonies. But even if you are a frontline manager like a work superintendent at a workplace, still you have to participate in ceremonies. If you are asked to do a small bridge in a rural village, if the village has a temple and a function in the temple, a huge ceremony, so you will be invited as sometimes chief guest. So you have to participate in ceremony. Sign legal documents. Yes, if you are a mid-level manager as a director of a company, you will be signing contract documents. Even in a work site, when you go as a superintendent of a small work site, you may have to sign a document. You say if a supplier brings you 100 bags of cement, you may have to sign the document accepting the 100 bags of cement. So you are signing the document. So those are the figurehead roles. When you are in a work site, you can't get somebody else to sign that document. You can't telephone the man to say, you accept the 100 bags and sign for me. No, they are figurehead roles. Head has to do. Even if you are not there, somebody has to sign on behalf of you. So, in a figurehead role has to be played by you, whether you are a shy person or whether you are a very high leadership quality person, you have to play the role of a figurehead. Remember that. You can't go back, even if you are a lady officer or a gent officer, you have to still do the same role. Figurehead role, you have to pick up and learn. You have to learn the theory and you have to practice it in your work. Figurehead role. Then the leader role. Leader role is the most fascinating and interesting role because you can't be a boss in a niche place, but you should be a leader. There are very famous sayings that be a leader, not a boss. People like to be a boss, but become a leader, then you naturally become a boss. So what are the leader roles? Advise, train, provide information, direct and motivate employees. For me, the motivating employees is the best leadership role that a manager should play. motivation of employees. Motivation of employees cannot be easily done. But if you are a good leader, not a bad boss, if you are a good leader, not a bad boss, you will be a very successful manager. So, leadership is another very good interpersonal role that a manager plays. Third role is the liaising of them. Since if you are a manager, you can't allow your people who are working under you to go and talk to everybody. You have to go and talk on behalf of them and get things done. You have to liaise between. So liaising, you can't ask, no, why should you wait for me? Go and do it yourself and go to other section and get it done. No. If there are different units, you be the liaising. Without your knowledge, nobody should try to shortcut and short circuit and get things done. So liaising also. If you fail in liaising is like, more easier word is coordination, more correct word is liaising. So liaison, you have to have, is also one of the roles to play by a manager is liaison role, figurehead role, leader role and liaison role. All three comes into the interpersonal role. Interpersonal is working with people. Interpersonal, working with people. Interpersonal roles. Three interpersonal roles more broadly are figurehead role, leader role and liaison role. Then we'll go to the next role is informational role. You have to have a lot of knowledge to play the informational role. You have to be the bright, informative person. So all your theories learn. You will use it for your information to play the informational role. So you have to pick up information and pass it to the others. That is the duty of a manager. Informational role. We will see there are three categories of informational roles. One is monitor's role. Monitor's role. Monitor is the person who is searching and examination information and go through reports. Actually, if you are going in the work site, you have to go through all the information available in drawings, all the other contract documents, paper, all this information you have to search, get the information and keep them. You are the person who will be providing those information to the others. Then disseminator, you have to pick up and then pass that information to the others. Dissemination of knowledge. Word disseminator, you can go to the dictionary and check what the word is. It is providing information to others within the organization. Writing notes and sending it to others. Writing a report and sending it to head office. Disseminator. Your information is passed over to the others. First you collect and then pass it over. So these are the two information roles, major information roles. Pick the information and pass it to the others, either to the top or to the bottom. Then the third one is like verbal role, spokesperson role. So you have information and you can't be person who is like a dumb person, keep everything in your side. You have to, when there is a time comes, you have to explain it. You can write a report and produce it to the head office, but in a meeting you have to explain about that. So, spokesperson role. That is the third informational role. So, you can have good managers who pick up everything very nicely, monitor the information, who pass the information in writing to the others very well, but who don't talk of no use. So, spokesperson role. But even if you have a spokesperson role, there are people who talk much, but they don't have information. So you should be a good monitor of information before you become a spokesperson. So three different roles: monitor's role, disseminator's role, and spokesperson's role. So they are the three different major roles, information roles. Then the third role by a manager is decision-making type roles, decisional roles. I will go back now the three different roles. The first one I said three different categories of managerial roles: interpersonal, then the informational and decisional role. Interpersonal, informational and decisional role. Interpersonal is dealing with people. Information is dealing with information. The third one is decision-making type role. There are definitely decisional roles as a manager. At what level manager, at any manager. But I'll bring examples of civil engineering for you to learn. But these are common management theories. So there are four different decisional roles: entrepreneurial role, disturbance handlers role, resources allocators role, and negotiators role. Entrepreneur, the disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator. These English words, if I tell in the more simpler terms, entrepreneur is like a businessman. The business role. First role is the business role. Disturbance handler is the man who is sorting out problems, problem solving type, fighting people, you disturbance handler, resolving conflict type role. Then the resource allocator is the role that divide work and divide resources, like mother's role at home. You know, if they have small amount of food, like if they have cake or some sweet, you have to distribute it. Resource allocator's role. That is the third role. Fourth one is the real negotiator's role. Even at home, if you want to negotiate with somebody who is coming to sell something at your gate, so negotiator's role. So there are four roles. Entrepreneur, that real businessman role, sharp way of handling things, identifying ideas and projects, spending money, all those things are entrepreneur's role. They are all decision-making roles because there is a decision involved in the entrepreneurship. Then disturbance handler, resolving conflicts between subordinates, conciliation of employee disputes. That's disturbance handler's role. Then resource allocator. The preparing budgets, provide resources, and leave alone all those. Even in the morning, if you are a right frontline manager, construction superintendent of a work site, in the morning you have to allocate resources. You have to say, okay, how many masons will go to this, carpenters will go there. I'll give you three. You tell your foreman, I'll give you three laborers to you, like resource allocators role. Then the negotiator, representing his department or organization, reaching agreement with key supplier with the labor union, negotiators role. So four different decision-making roles, so decisional roles. So they have to be played properly by the manager. Now for you now as a student, you have to learn about these three broad categories of managerial roles and the subcategories of roles and their function. Now, I might ask, in an exam, somebody will ask a question. Now, somebody will ask a question, what is the disseminator's, what is the role of a spokesperson? And you have to explain that. So, these three different categories of managerial roles and their sub-roles and the descriptions are to be remembered. Not only for the examination purposes, yes, for the examination purposes also you have to remember it, but for your life learning exercises and usage of this knowledge in your life, you have to remember them. I have given few more slides, like, they are coming from different textbooks, and you can see everybody, different type of textbooks uses the same thing. That is why I told that management theories have over the years refined and sort of evolved into a final abstract scientific theory. So you can see this slide is coming from a different book. Still, they have three managerial roles and also four sub-roles. So even this slide comes from another book. So you can see that even now the writers of management theories, they are using this as a Bible-like thing. So it is now a matter, even if you learn this is not what I have produced, this is not my thinking. I am giving you my examples because I have practiced this, but these are management theories.
Don't forget to subscribe this channel for more of the very latest videos.